Good morning, boys and girls. This morning I would like to demonstrate for you how to properly set up a message or Gmail when you are sending, especially when you are sending one to an adult or to me, for example. So in your Gmail, you have your inbox, we call this, and in the left-hand corner over here, we have the word compose. So when you want to send me a Gmail or send somebody else a Gmail, you would first click on compose. A new window pops up that says new message. You first type in who you are sending to. So in our Gmail system, if you first start just typing their name, their Gmail should hopefully pop up. So for example, if you were sending a Gmail to me, you could start typing my first name is Bob. So if you start typing Bob, you get a list of all the Bobs in our district, and you can see my Gmail. This is the old one. You want to use the one that is FSUSD.org. So in this case, it would be the second one on this list. You click on that, and you can see then it tells who you are emailing to. If you wanted to send a copy of this Gmail to somebody else, for some reason, that's where the CC and the BCC come in, but I don't think you'll be using that very often, so I'm not going to show that feature. Secondly, however, I do want to show you the subject line here. This is very important. A lot of times people send emails and they don't put a subject, and what happens is sometimes the email will get filtered into like a junk mailbox, and people may not ever get them, or if they don't know what the subject is, they may not look at it. So you always want to use one or two words to describe what's the subject of this Gmail. For example, if you were Gmailing me a question about homework, the subject could be homework, or it could even be homework question. One or the other would be fine. I'm just going to leave it as homework at this point. Again, I want to emphasize, very important to have a subject line. Finally, you click into the main window of the body of the Gmail, and you can see mine already has a closing and signatures preset. I created that in settings. Yours is probably going to look blank right here. At this point, it's a good idea to think of a Gmail as writing a letter. If you are Gmailing an adult, like your parents or your teacher or somebody like that, you would want to think of it as a formal letter, or it's definitely something you want to address respectfully. For example, you might want to say, "Good morning, Mr. Byland," or if it was the afternoon, you could say, "Good afternoon, Mr. Byland," or "Hello, Mr. Byland." Something like that to open it up, rather than just diving right into the body of the letter. So I'm going to say, "Good afternoon, Mr. Byland," comma. Now we hit enter to drop down to the next line, because it is like a letter. Some letters, they have you skip a space, and so you could hit enter again, and it drops you down to another line. At this point, type your letter explaining what your question is, or what the thing is about homework that you were writing me about. So you could say, "I had a problem with tonight's homework and was hoping you could help." Period. Two spaces. You could say then, "I have finished my Khan Academy assignments So could you please recommend the topics for me? Question mark. And then, of course, it's always polite to say thank you when you ask somebody something and they, do it. However, in a Gmail, a lot of times you can kind of do that ahead of time. You could actually, at this point, drop down to the next line and say thank you. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And then drop down to the next line, and it's always polite to say who you are or something like that. So you could say, after thank you could be like your closing, and then you could type, your name at the bottom. The main thing to remind you is that this is, a Gmail or an email. Again, sometimes it's like a quick note. But other times, especially when you're addressing somebody more formally, it's going to be like a letter. You want to hit that respectful part. Please check over your Gmails. If you look at mine right here, you can see I have 2 squiggly red lines. It's just like any of the other programs that we use. It's a spell checking system. So if you move the cursor over the word with your mouse and you right click, it will give you the corrections, and you just need to decide which one it is. Is it supposed to be singular with no S? Is it supposed to be apostrophe S? In this case, it is supposed to be apostrophe S. Tonight's homework, it's possessive. The next one, recommend here. Let's check that one. Right click. You can see I could use a hyphen or a space. Now, since is not a word by itself, I'm not going to use a space. So in this case, I'm going to actually use the hyphen. Now my letter is fixed. At this point, it would be a good idea. You checked it. You can go ahead and scroll down and click send. Actually, send is covered up right now. So let me see if it'll work if I click it. No, not going to work. So I'm going to have to stop the screencast so that I can click send on this Gmail. Anyway, that's the basics of sending a respectful, formal Gmail.